Hey guys, Justin with Ready Business Systems. Today I'm going to go over this salesperson commission worksheet that I just built for my salesperson at my landscaping company. So the way this works is we're going to figure out what it costs to recover a salesperson's salary, and then we can come up with a commission based off of that once they recover their costs. Because obviously they need to pay for their own salary before you can even consider giving them any sort of commission. So our sales guy is on salary for $25 an hour at 37 and a half hours a week. So he's on salary for $937.50. So this is our gross pay, which includes the taxes that he'll see withdrawn from his check that we withhold, but we send directly to the IRS. And then we also have to pay employer taxes on top of that. So you can get this from your state, from state and federal. They send notices every year. From your payroll company, you should have this information. But our tax rate is 21.97%, which includes workers' comp, Social Security, unemployment, etc. So for every dime we pay in taxes, we have to pay 21.97%. So although we're paying him a gross pay of $937.50, we also have to pay taxes every week of $205.97. So his cost per week to the company is $1,143.47. All right. Next up, I'm going to go through the cost of labor. So our average employee wage, we take all of our employees, we average it together, and then included in this number is also overtime. So obviously you're going to pay your employees time and a half when they're on overtime. So, $19 an hour times 1.5 when they're on overtime. So we plan on 10% overtime hours. So then we have an average weighted wage of $19.16. So although their average wage might be around $18, $17, something like that, their average wage on overtime is $19.16. Then you also have to pay 21.97% taxes on their wages, so we have to include that in our cost per hour. Fuel per hour, we simply took our past years and we saw how much we spent on fuel. We saw how many hours we billed that year. So then we took the total amount we spent on fuel, we divided by the number of hours, we came up with roughly $1.90 per hour for fuel. Credit card processing fees per hour, $1.94, same thing. Job supplies per hour, same thing. However much we spent on job supplies for the year, divide by number of hours worked. So we have our total cost of goods sold of roughly $31.48. So there's other costs obviously in here to having him part of the company, but they're negligible and they don't really change. So just because we have this salesperson doesn't mean that our insurance is going to go up. Our workers' comp is going to go up, but that's included in here. But our liability insurance is going to go up. Our rent's not going to go up. Our administrative costs aren't going to go up, or they'll go up a negligible amount. So this is a good estimate of what our cost is for every hour we pay our employees. So our average charge rate year to date is $62 per hour. That's what we've been getting for every hour we pay our employees. So we're getting more than this on the job sites, but this is what we're getting at the end of the day. So if we pay an employee for 10 hours worked, then we actually billed out $620. So that's what this is. This is what we're paying. Is what we're charging for every hour that we pay our employees. And it's different than what you're charging on site, because you have to pay the employees for driving between sites. So this is inclusive of drive time. So right here, overhead recovery per hour. So what I did here is we're paying $62. We're charging $60 an hour. But remember, we don't keep 100% of that. Obviously, we actually only keep about half of that. So $62 an hour minus $31.48 leaves us $30 per hour, which goes towards all of our overhead. So our overhead in any given season is roughly $500,000. So for every hour we bill out, we put $30.52 of that towards our overhead. So this is what's left over to cover the salary of the salesperson. Because when he bills out, assuming he gets this charge rate, there's this much left over that's going to go towards to recover his salary. So what I did here is you take the salary cost per week and divide it by how many hours, the overhead that we're getting per hour, that we're recovering per hour. So he has to sell 37.47 hours per week just to cover his salary. So to reverse that out to make that more clear, we're taking 37.47 times 30.52 is equal to his salary. So revenue per week to cover his salary, what we're doing is we're taking this number of hours we're selling per week times the charge rate, and we end up at $2,323 that he needs to sell per week at this charge rate, obviously, to recover his salary. So to get the revenue per month, what I did is I took 52 weeks in a year. There's more than 4 weeks per month. So there's obviously usually 20 to 31 days in a month. So that's more than 4 weeks. It ends up being 4.3 weeks are in each month. So what I did is I multiplied this times 4.3. So I came up with 9,988, which is basically $10,000 a month that he has to sell on average in order to pay for his own salary. So beyond that, we can talk about doing a commission, because now when he sells beyond $10,000, he's now starting to contribute towards our overhead and our bottom line. So we'll probably do something like a 5% commission. I think that would be reasonable, seeing that we aim for 15% profit margin. We'll be sharing that profit with him when he exceeds expectations. So let me know if you have any questions, or check out the website, readybusinesssystems.com.